Here is Dimitri Yakov, and this is the 11th episode of my video series Mindshift. In this video series, I'm bringing you people who can broaden and deepen your perspective in areas where their superpower lies. I'm super excited to welcome our Mindshifter today. And just listen this description. This is amazing guy. His name is Stoyan Yankov, and he's a co-author of a forthcoming book, Perform the Unsexy Truth of Startup Success. He's also a co-founder and managing partner at Samodiva Masterminds. He's productivity coach. He's professional speaker. He's a mentor. And the most important, he's my best friend. And he's going to shift our perspective in the area of productivity. Welcome, Stoyan. And
hey, TV.
Just tell me if I missed something, because you do so many things, man. I'm really, really proud of you, of the achievements you're doing, especially the last 2-3 years. But is there something else which I missed here in this introduction?
Oh, thank you so much for such an introduction. Wow. Well, I guess there's always more to add, but it was quite well described. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man. We're going to talk about productivity today. And this is definitely the area when I think about you is definitely one of the top areas where I know that you are really expert in. And the first question is the obvious one. What is productivity? Can you describe it to me and to the people who listen to that?
Yeah. Well, productivity in its usual term is how do we create more input with less? Right. It's all about if we look back into the Industrial Revolution, for example, where the majority of workers out there were focused on creating more output with less resources.
Okay.
So that's kind of the definition, the usual definition of productivity. While now in 21st century, we need to add something to the equation that we're no longer just factory workers. Majority of people working, I don't know if it's the majority, but many people are knowledge workers. So that creates an extra layer of complexity which you have to add to the equation. So productivity is no longer only about getting things done and producing results. It's also about being mindful about how you're feeling about it, about your energy, about your long-term well-being. Okay. So it's a different type of age right now.
So it's as I can hear, it's like a holistic term right now nowadays. It just broaden its meaning. It's not only about producing goods or something, but it's more about producing a good life also and well-being in general.
Exactly. I mean, a life of productivity is a life that you find your own spot, a balance, if you may, in between this sense of achievement, getting things done, achieving goals, and the other side of the things, the fulfillment, the happiness, the presence, the being in the moment. So productivity, a life of productivity should include both.
Wow. Actually, that's quite a shift for me, man. I mean, definitely I knew a lot of things I read about that. I read a lot of your Monday Productive, which is actually everyone has to go there. After this call, I'm gonna share the contacts of Stoyan. So go to LinkedIn and really follow that. There are many gold nuggets there. But definitely this description is completely different for me. It just combines life with you could say prosperity and making things happen. And how much, I think this is a question which I guess everyone asks now, how much of productivity is about doing things and how much is focusing on your well-being?
I think this question, the answer of this question should be different for everybody. And I think if I make a step backwards and talk about self-awareness a little bit, because at the end of the day, it's all about knowing yourself, before you can, sometimes there's clients coming to me and they're like, hey, Stoyan, I want you to boost my productivity. And they come super excited to the first session and they want to talk about, time management techniques. And I'm like, okay, that's all good. We'll get there. But that's not what I'm all about. If you want to do that, go to somebody else. I need to know who you are. I need to know your belief system. I need to know your challenges before we can start talking about what are the tools and the hacks, which is kind of the things on the surface. Super, super important.
Yeah.
But this is not the core thing. The core thing is first to understand who you are and what works for you. And if we talk about, productivity at the workplace, it's about knowing your own style. Some people are really structured. Some people love to have things in drawers, in places, everything to be planned, and that works for them. But there are other people that love to be more intuitive. At the end of the day, they still produce the results. They still get things done, but they do it in their own way. And I think it's always about understanding who you are and not getting into the cycle of there's a lot of people that are high achievers. Probably a lot of people who are watching your show are high achievers.
Definitely.
And the question is, how can you be high achiever without self-abuse, without getting into this kind of a pattern, right? And then the opposite question to people who are not on the high achievers part, but they're on the other side, the people that that always talk about the presence, and I'm in the present. I want to enjoy my time, and I just let things to happen. So how can you be present without becoming complacent?
Wow, that's two amazing questions, man. I guess I'm gonna put you on the spot, but would you maybe answer them for us? Do you have some kind of advice maybe towards these two types of people? How can balance their, you could say maybe their superpower or the thing which they are really good at? For example, high achievers are good in doing stuff and achieving stuff, but maybe there's something there which can help them to balance. So what is your one advice maybe towards them?
So first, not to take full credit for these questions, I actually listened to a podcast between Tim Ferriss and Brené Brown.
Okay.
And I got inspired by them discussing these topics. And then I actually brought it into my personal mastermind group, and we had a discussion about these.
Okay.
So which one do you want me to start with?
Start with the high achievers. I guess this is way closer to your style in general.
Yeah, you said as well, best friend, like you know me well. So what has been working for me is, first of all, is awareness. Where does it come from? Where is this motivation to get more things done coming from? Is it coming from a healthy place? And do you have your own measures to counterbalance it? To prioritize time for fun, for enjoyment, for just doing nothing? Or is it this kind of a frantic, high on adrenaline, strive for getting things done and achieving things? So I think for high achievers, it's about really finding their own tools and strategies, like to how can you balance this with, like, is it meditation that works for you? Is it journaling? I love to journal myself, for example. Sometimes I'm working long hours, I'm excited about it, I'm super passionate, it's easy for me to get motivated and get things done. It's harder for me, it's not so natural to prioritize time for well-being, for fun activities, just because I'm so obsessed by I'm a workaholic, that. Hopefully becoming more and more healthy workaholic lately. So I'm writing a gratitude journal every single day. I write 10 things that I'm grateful about. Sometimes it's about, I'm just writing down the achievements. Sometimes I'm grateful that I'm healthy, man. That people around me are healthy, and I have a roof I can eat the good food. So reminders about this helps me to be in my own place. But I mean, it's a really big question,
It is, yeah.
And I think everybody listening might want to take the time to sit down and to write down this question on a piece of paper and journal on it. I mean, you're the journal guy. You just finished the 30-day journaling challenge, so that might be another really good question to, first of all, journal on, but then connect with your friends and have a discussion, maybe on Zoom, because these days we need to be more self-isolated. But you might come up with some really good ideas.
That's a very good point. I think journaling sounds it's very great. It's great first step towards finding the balance and maybe realizing where you are right now, because as you said initially, awareness is the key. So getting aware of where you are, and maybe with journaling you can find out some answers of steps you can take towards balancing. What about the second type of people? As you said, people who are more into the now, and people who are not so into, you could say proactive. I guess it's a good term for that. Did you have some encounters with these people, and maybe you can give advice to them what they can do about it?
I think it's about self-awareness, man. It's about, if you are in your own zone. I mean, if you want to work 10 hours a week and have a happy family life and just go to the forest, and you really feel it inside, it. You might bullshit anybody else, but you know it. And that makes you happy, and you have enough resources. You don't need, that's fine. Be that guy, But if you're just bullshitting and using this as an excuse for not taking action, because maybe you're afraid, because maybe it doesn't come so natural for you, you want to be somewhere, but you're telling everybody, I just let it be, man. I don't want to take action because I'll let the universe, the God, the nature to. It's like, all right, maybe we need to talk. So that's. I haven't met a really interesting guy. A few years ago, when I was still a movie producer, and I had a dinner with a guy who used to work in Cartoon Network. There's this show called Adventure Time. So it's this animated, really cool show, actually. You should go check it out. And he was the lead designer in the show, creating the whole universe of the show. And he's been working for a couple of years, maybe 3 years, like really, really crazy hours, super achiever, energy. And then he retired. And I had a dinner with him, and I was like, okay, dude, so what do you do right now? He's like, well, I retired at 32.
Wow.
And I bought a forest in Vermont.
Wow.
And I a few acres of forest. He built a house on a tree, and he lives there with his wife and his son. It's nearby a small town. And he's like, dude, I have Wi-Fi there. I love to work 20 hours a week. And in the other time, I'm just building stuff in the forest with my son, physical, building things and just having walks. I go to the little town, and I'm very active in the community there and meet people. And I don't need much money. They pay me they fly me around the world to do speeches. And when I get hired to do a project, within these 20 hours, I actually made some pretty decent living. So, but that's me. That's my lifestyle. That's who I'm fully connected. This is the life of my dreams. And he told me I was fortunate enough when I was only 15 to experience a really big challenge, a really big pain. in my life. And based on that, and based on the reflections from this experience, I had a chance to learn more about who am I and what really makes me happy.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, this is such a such a great story and such a great inspiration for everyone to try to look inside and say, who do you really want to be? You know, if you now is a good time. We all, you know, home many hours on the quarantine these days, and we have a chance to really dig deep and ask these questions. Who do you want to be?
Wow.
If you have all the resources, if you don't have to think about money, if you have no limits and no fears, what does your life look like? You know, like, do you work 60, 80, 100 hours, or do you actually do something else? Are you a family person? Are you a workaholic? Are you a high achiever and it makes you happy just to build stuff? Like, who do you want to be?
It's amazing.
It's
lovely. Thank you for sharing this story, because I think we went way deeper even than I imagined in this conversation, because we, of course, we're gonna say several words about the tools about productivity. I guess people need that, but definitely, I definitely am with you that everything anyway goes back to, do I know who I am, and do I really know what I really want in this life? And when you go to this place, right, you just, you have some tools, but if you don't go there, it will be very hard to combine fulfillment and prosperity, which I guess it's everyone's goal, right, in a way.
Yeah, it's like you go to the doctor and you say, I have a headache, and the doctor is giving you pills.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I can give you the pills, but I don't know where is this headache coming from. Have you had this headache for a long time? What's the cause of this thing? We need to talk about the cause before I can give you pills. So it's the same thing with productivity.
Yeah, and I guess both of us were coaches, and I guess also you had these clients who are coming and they know all the tools, they know everything, but they cannot be productive, and sometimes even they cannot feel fulfilled. And they say, I know everything, I need more tools, and you realize that they don't need tools, right? They know everything. I'm not going to come up with new tools for you. You just need to find out the deeper part. So definitely true. And so I have this question.
And then the second part, sorry, Dimi, the second part of it is, not about the knowledge, it's about the execution and consistency.
Yeah.
You're extremely good in being consistent. And execution is the thing. I've been doing research for my upcoming book, and you might have heard about these statistics that they did a study. They found out that more than 50% of American doctors are obese or overweight. Wow. These are the people that are telling you should eat vegetables and salads, and so it's not about knowledge. It's about doing what it is, and it's usually about doing the things that you don't want to do consistently. Often, you know.
Yes.
Do your meditation, go for a run, eat your vegetables, plan your day, focus on the most important things. Don't get distracted, get them done. Everybody knows this. Yeah. Everybody knows this.
Yeah, it is absolutely. I think this is a big question, and we're definitely not going to go deeper now in that, but it's about question of motivation versus action always is there, because people always wait about this motivation, but they don't understand that action is always, it doesn't matter where you start, and action is more sustainable because you have more control, right, over that. So actually the next question which I have is, I have many questions, but this is coming in my mind right now. I'm sure that people you coach and you work with, they ask you, there is some common question which is coming. Can you come up with one question which a lot of people ask about productivity, and give me an answer to it?
In the last few weeks, maybe let's put it into the context of the last few weeks, if you're fine with that.
Yeah, that's okay.
The usual thing people call me for are, Stoyan, I don't feel productive these days. And I'm very stressed, I'm very anxious. I'm not feeling as productive and focused as usual. And I'm really stressed because I don't have less of work. So what should I do? So that's a question I've heard many times in the past several weeks, I would say. And I think the first thing to realize, if those of you who are watching are also feeling this way these days, is to allow yourself to not be so productive. People are like, how can I be more productive? And it's like, okay, first of all, chill. First of all, accept that what's happening right now in the world is something we have never experienced in our lifetime. You might be anxious, you might be stressed, you might be uncertain. There's so much uncertainty out there. I mean, people are afraid about their financials, about their coworkers, about the people home, that they might be, getting sick, or would they, right? And at the same time, in terms of businesses are afraid, what's going on? What should we do? What kind of transformation should we do so we can go through the storm? And that, of course, affects the people working there. So I don't know if those of you who are watching, if you're an employee, if you are an executive, a business leader, if you are an entrepreneur, but the first thing I would say is just take a step back and tell to yourself, hey, dude, it's okay if you're not feeling as productive and focused these days. I need to get in peace in that first. And then, now that I'm in peace with that and I accept it, then I might be at 60% or 70 or 80 or even 40, I don't know. That's okay. How do I still focus and get the results that I want? And this is a key thing. If you haven't been consistent in planning before, in your time management, now is the time to actually step up your game. Because you're probably going to be less productive, less focused. So a simple thing you can do is just get one of these. Get one of these and start writing down everything that's on your head that you might have to do for the next day. Ideally, that should be based on some longer term goals. However, in these turbulent times, it might be hard to predict what's in the next 6 months or 3 months. So try to focus on here and now. What are the most important results that I need to get done? Don't make it super complicated. What are the 3 results? Whatever happens today, I need to get done these 3 results. And then, of course, I'm a really big fan of time blocking and really scheduling time for specific objectives in your calendar. So if you can do that and say, I'm not going to continue with anything else before I finish with this thing. In the next 2 hours, I need to, complete this contract. That's it. Nothing else. And when something starts distracting you, that's okay. Maybe some of you have your kids at home. Maybe some of you have pets, or your colleagues are calling you more often on Zoom. It's okay. It's fine. I think it's important to set boundaries with people. That's another thing I would say. Try to set boundaries with people home, and try to set boundaries with your colleagues. And say, hey, from 9 to 12, I'm fully focused on creation. Please don't bother me unless something burns. then you're not going to diminish entirely this, but at least you will decrease the level, of distractions.
Yeah.
And then when you're more focused, you have your own time. You said, I'm only going to focus on this one thing. Before I get it done, I'm not going to start with the next one. And you get it done. You check it off your list. You give yourself a little tap on the shoulder, and you say, hey, what's the next thing I should focus on?
Lovely, man. Thank you. You did so many great things here, and I'm sure that people are super happy that they can listen to that. You mentioned several tools you use in productivity, but I'm really curious about, is there the tool you use and you say, this is the tool. If you use that, you definitely become more productive?
It's here.
Okay.
I would say the D2 is your mindset.
Whoa, love that.
it's not about hacks. Like that's not a question I often get asked.
Mm.
Can you give me some hacks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure, I can give you hundreds. But it's about your mindset, and it's about understanding that it's a long-term game.
Mm.
So by mindset, I mean, there's this book. What was the name? Was it called Mindset? The book of Carol
Yep, Carol Dweck. Yeah,
Dweck,
it's mindset.
about fixed and growth mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say the biggest productivity hack or tool is developing growth mindset or abundance mindset.
Okay. So what it is?
And that
Abundance
means,
mindset.
for me, abundance mindset is when you focus the majority of your attention on opportunities, on things you can control, on getting things done and executing instead of talking about it. And when you acquire, and this is something everybody can develop, everybody can develop it. And when you acquire such a mindset, whatever you get hit with, maybe you plan this day and then something hits you. Whatever hits you, it doesn't matter, because you're really quick to bounce back and get back into this productive state.
Absolutely.
Abundance mindset. So I would say, how do you acquire this? I mean, you are an expert in this yourself. It's, I think, you know what I want to talk about, Dimi? I want to talk about the unsexy stuff, because everybody's looking for the tool.
Yep.
Everybody's looking for the tool and for the quick fix, and it just doesn't work this way.
Mm-hmm.
It's
talk about this stuff.
If you want to grow a business, if you want to grow, a relationship, whatever it is, it takes a freaking effort. It takes a long-term effort. I'm not saying it's not going to be easy. Like, it could be easy. I don't know, but probably it's going to take a lot of time. Probably going to fail a lot of times. Probably you have to learn and get feedback. Probably you will experience a lot of mistakes on the way, and you have to be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be a movie producer, and when you're building a story, I love this mindset of trying to see yourself as the hero of your own movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because think about it, you're the producer of your movie.
Yeah.
You're the director of your movie, and you're the playing character, and you're the screenwriter.
Mm-hmm.
That's your movie. That's
Absolutely.
your life.
Yeah.
And you might blame the government is taking these bad measures for the crisis, and that's why my business suffers. This is happening, but these are external events.
Mm.
You are the hero of your own movie.
Yeah.
Every hero, every character of a story. I mean, think about the fables, or from Aesop fables, or like think about all the ancient stories, and also think about the Hollywood movies and stuff. The character, the hero is, I mean, I love Marvel movies, but we don't have those type of superpowers, right? The usual hero is just an ordinary person who decides to act from extraordinary place. Who decides, I'm going to be afraid, but I'll take the right choice more often than not. Because I know what is the right choice and I know what's the easy choice.
Yeah, that's a very good distinction, man. Very good distinction. I want to just go into a little bit more in that, because I know that your book, and also that about the unsexy truth of startup success. I guess the things you started talking now about it is kind of part of what you put into the book. But again, if you can describe us, because I cannot miss that, can you describe us what exactly is the book about, and for whom is this book?
Yes. So the book is called Perform, the Unsexy Truth About Startup Success. Is based around the Perform methodology, which is a methodology for creating peak-performing team cultures in startups that I've been developing together with a leader from the startup ecosystem, the CEO of Startup Wise Guys, Cristobal Alonso, who's the this is the leading B2B accelerator in Europe.
Wow.
And we've been working closely now for 3-4 years. And this book is a practical toolbox, if you may, which covers the most important areas that as startup founders we don't really pay attention to as much. It's not so natural to pay attention to those things because they're so simple, they're so easy. They look kind of like intuitive. And this is P, which is purpose and values. E stands for effective planning. R, responsibilities and ownership. F, focus and execution. O, optimal energy. The second R is robust communication. And M stands for mental toughness. And that gives the acronym PERFORM.
Yeah.
So basically, when we work with founders, and this is also part of our message in the book, we ask them to evaluate on a consistent basis, every second week maybe, how did my team perform in each of these 7 areas.
Probably, man.
If we look into from 1 to 10, 1 is the lowest, 10 is the highest, there is no space for improvement. How did we perform? And each of the team members measures their own performance and the performance of the team, and then they have a productive discussion. And they talk about what are the specific things we're missing right now. What are the things we should do to improve? Because it seems like this area is lacking and it's bringing all the others down. We haven't been paying much attention. We've been executing really, really focused only on building the product, reaching out to customers. We forgot to plan and to see the whole picture. Maybe we need to start setting up those daily sessions and talk about our strategic objectives and the day-to-day tasks.
Yeah.
We've been home for such a long time and we forgot to focus on energy, on well-being. We need to start some habits and to keep each other accountable in this area. Yes. So the book is all about mastering the habits of productivity that will help you to build a peak performing team.
Lovely.
And now that you have the team, you have a higher chance to make a company that sustains and that is stays on the market in a few years from this. And to make it more practical, of course, I do have some experience myself. Christopher has a crazy lot of experience. He's also older than me, so more life experience, of course. But they also invested in over 200 startups and been working closely with them. So that gives an extra layer. But we are interviewing the best founders from a region called New Europe.
Okay.
Which is basically Central and Eastern Europe. And we're interviewing some of the founders of some of the best startups in the region, and we include the findings, meaning the strategies. What did you do in your team to build such a great company? How did you plan? How did you make sure everybody's focused and executes at the high level? How did you create structures for communication within the team? So we're trying to get the best strategies and to share them with the world.
Wow.
I feel like many of the books out there are about Silicon Valley, and you have examples from Facebook, Uber, Spotify, and so on and so forth. But we don't really have tools and strategies from the companies just in front of our doors, right?
Yeah.
Here in New Europe.
Lovely, man. Lovely. Thank you. I mean, definitely we are going to include links to everything you can provide me with so people can really get in touch with this because it seems really interesting book, and I'm sure that everyone can get something out of it. It doesn't matter if they are entrepreneur, they're a business leader, or just they want to have better life. So just before we go, I have this question which I want to ask you. Just I felt super interesting for me that tell me, so you said many great things about how can you know more about yourself. That is very important, and also some small tools. But if today someone wants to become a little bit more productive today, what can be the first small step which can help this person to become a little bit more productive? Just one small step.
prioritize time
Okay.
in your calendar to prioritize.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
block time in your calendar to plan, basically. That's gonna be my. I'm spending 30 minutes every day. It doesn't have to be 30. If you haven't done anything, make time, 15, 20 minutes. Sit down with a piece of paper to begin with, and try to put down your thoughts on paper and say, what are the most important things I want to focus on this month, this week, tomorrow. And I want to finish with a quote from Alan Lacan, who's an author, old school classic author, and he's been writing about productivity himself. And he says, it's about bringing the future. Planning is about bringing the future into the present so you can do something about it now.
Wow. I love that.
So I want you to think about it every time if I want this result, if I want this future to unveil, what should I do to get there? First of all, I need to get clear where I want to be. What is the result? What is the outcome? And then I have to build it backwards. So everything you do, you might want to be more intentional about it. Even if you're going on a vacation somewhere, what do I want to get out of this vacation? What is my intention? So start with the end in mind, start with the intention in mind. And just by acquiring this simple practice, you might improve your productivity as well.
Thank you, man. Great quote and great explanation of it. So where people can find you, man? Where if they want to contact you about the book or about coaching or whatever, where are you?
I'm quite active online, so you can find me on LinkedIn. As you said, I'm doing this a lot of different formats. Every Monday, I'm posting an article with a productive person from my network called Monday Productive. I'm on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook by my name, Stoyan Yankov.
Yeah.
And the book you can find, theperformbook.com. You can find it on the link that you're going to post, Dimi. So I'm pretty easy to find. Send me a message, send an email, and let's move. Let's get shit done.
Let's move, guys. Stoyan is your man. If you want to become more productive and you want to become the best version of yourself, everything, he's amazing. He's doing so many things, and I really recommend him to you. So if you want to contact him, you're going to have the contacts below the video. So yeah, you can get in touch with him. Thank you, Stoyan, for your time and the golden nuggets you provided us with. And talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Timmy, for hosting this.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.